Hello, this video is going to cover the new math pathways here at Everett Community College. My name is Nina Benedetti and I work in our Transitional Studies department. So, what exactly is happening? So beginning winter quarter of 2018, we at Everett Community College are going to have a new math sequence. So the math department and transitional studies will be instituting this new math sequence, like I said, winter 2018. The new sequence will replace the existing developmental math courses, including TS for transitional studies and math. So our TS 80 and Math 80 will be disappearing after fall quarter, as well as TS and Math 91 will be disappearing after fall quarter. Math 92 and Math 98 and Math 99 will also be disappearing after winter quarter. So winter quarter will be the last time you see those classes. And there will be a whole new set of classes to replace them. So we have Math 76 as well as TS 76, and Math 86 as well as TS 86, and Math 96. The TS and or Math 76 is titled Mathematical Literacy, and this is a class for students who need more significant help with their math. It includes arithmetic with fractions, decimals, percents, negative numbers, graphs, and introductory algebra. And then our TS and Math 86, that's our Essentials of Intermediate Algebra. This is a mathematical reasoning course appropriate for all majors, including using math to solve real-world problems, basic algebra, and geometry. And it is the last developmental class needed for most, but not all, but for most non-STEM or business majors. After 86, a student can go directly into 107 or 146. And then there's our Math 96. This is our intermediate algebra for pre-calculus. This is the last developmental class for STEM or business majors and focuses on the algebra necessary for pre-calculus and calculus. So what is not changing? So we're still going to offer within transitional studies a TS 60, which goes basically over whole numbers and some fractions and decimals, and then TS 70, which goes into more detail on fractions, decimals, percents, ratios, as well as Math 60 is not going away. That's cosmetology math. That is not the same as TS 60. And then our Math 78, 79 lab math classes, those are not going away either. And of course, all of our college level math will still be in existence. So why the heck are we doing this? So Everett Community College has embraced the principles of guided pathways, and the new developmental math sequence was developed to align with those principles. For many non-STEM developmental math students, some topics in a traditional algebra class are irrelevant to their program goals. We believe that the focus on algebra topics relevant to those students, and that by focusing on those, that we will be able to shorten the non-STEM pathway to college math, increasing student achievement while still developing the mathematical maturity and ability of those students. We must also ensure that our STEM students are suitably prepared for their studies. So the first two courses, Mathematical Literacy and Essentials of Intermediate Algebra, 76 and 86, are designed for the students in all disciplines and focus on real-world applications of mathematics and mathematical reasoning. The third course, Intermediate Algebra for Pre-Calculus, our Math 96, covers mathematical concepts and techniques that are critical for the success of pre-calculus. So we start with the end in mind. So Math 107 and 146 student learning outcomes were looked at. The math department here grabbed those course information forms, looked over the student learning objectives, and said, what do our students need to know from these courses in order to be successful? And that's how 76 and 86 were created. So they made sure that the students were only getting the math needed to be successful in the 107 and 146 class. And all the other kind of abstract algebra, for instance, factoring polynomials as an example, those concepts were moved over into the Math 96 class. So if we look at our little handy dandy form here that I referred to in the PowerPoint, we've got our flow chart. So the flow chart shows, this is the one effective spring quarter 2018, that the new pathway in math is going to be from 60 to 70 to 76 to 86 to 107 and 146. So for most traditional math students, they'll probably start here in Math 76. And from Math 76, they'll go into 86 and then to 107, 146. If they are a STEM student after 86, their next pathway is going to be into Math 96. So that will get them into their pre-calc and calculus classes, as well as college algebra, Math 138. Maths 78 and 79 will still be in existence, and a student can go into that class. It's a self-paced math class. It is in a classroom with an instructor, but a student is doing his or her work on a computer, working at a self-paced, and then they can raise their hand if they need help. And at the end of the class, depending on how quickly a student gets through the material, the student can then place into either 76, 86, 96, or even into 146 or 107. So if a student really worked diligently, and maybe they did really well in high school, but they have been out for a few years and they just needed a brush up, 78 or 79 might be a better class for them. Because then they may be able to shoot all the way into 146 or 107 or into 96. And I know this handout has some old numbers on it, but our new one is up to date. So if you would like a copy of this handout that I am showing you, feel free to contact myself or Elise for a copy. Okay. So what does this mean for the rest of the college? So for the college, for the college, a couple things. One is hopefully by now all classes that have prereqs of 80 or 91 or 92, hopefully all of those have been updated, that you have new course information forms that have been submitted to Instructional Council to be approved. If not, you'll want to work with your department and get those submitted right away. The other thing you'll want to know is how to advise these students. So you'll need to know the difference between the new sequence, you'll need to know the new sequence and the difference between math and TS. So let's take a second to look at that. So transitional studies. So what is transitional studies? So students who qualify for Math 76 or 86 via the AccuPlacer are eligible to enroll in TS 76 or 86. So what's the difference? Well, a Math 76 or 86, as we all know, is a tuition-bearing class running over $500 per class, versus our TS classes are only $25, and that's a $25 fee. It's not a tuition, it's a fee that's collected. So a student has the choice. Either ones are prereqs. Our 76, you can do a TS 76 and then take Math 86, or you can take TS 86 and then take Math 96. It doesn't matter, or you can stay in the TS for both and then go into Math 96 or into Math 107 or 146. So why would a student take a TS class or a math class? What's the difference really besides price? So the other issue is financial aid. A student who takes a TS class, those classes are not eligible for financial aid. So if a student is receiving federal financial aid and they still want to get their full grant, their full package grant, they may not want to take TS 76. Here's a good example. So let's say a student is in English 101 or is going to take English 101 and let's say College Success 101, which is a 2-credit class, plus a Math 76. If they chose to take, for a total of 12 credits, if they had chosen to take TS 76 instead of Math 76, now their federal financial aid is down to 7 credits, and so they're not going to get their full aid. So it's really a student's choice on that aspect. However, let's say you have a new student in your office. This is their first quarter in. They applied for financial aid late, and they're not eligible for it yet. TS class is a really good option until their financial aid kicks in. So there's that option as well. But again, it's just a matter of choice. You certainly shouldn't probe into the student's personal and ask them if they're getting financial aid, but you can just say to them, if they are getting financial aid, here's what you need to know. So let them disclose it if they want. But just make sure you tell them about the differences. So again, the TS courses are equal to the math courses. The TS courses are offered at a $25, and that's for as many TS courses as a student wants. We do have TS courses that are English equivalent. So we have a TS 97, a TS 98. And if a student were to take, let's say, TS 97 and TS 76, they'd get those 2 classes for the same one-time fee of $25. So that is a fee. It's not a tuition. So again, TS courses are not eligible for financial aid, so a student needs to remember that. Also, if a student is a Running Start student or if a student is an international student, they are not eligible for TS classes. So please make sure that you ask them if they are a Running Start or international student. And then for students in TS courses, there is this thing, you may have heard of it, something called a CASAS test. Don't worry about it. You can still enroll that student just like you would for a math class. You register online, you have the item number, we're listed in the class schedule as transitional studies. Don't worry about that CASAS test. The teachers who are teaching the TS classes are going to make sure those students take that test, so do not worry about that. Also, you may have heard in the past that we had this orientation that a student has to go to. That no longer is the case either. We want to make this process as easy as possible for all of our students. So if they have that AccuPlacer test, that's good enough. They do not have to sign up for an orientation. Okay. So Testing Center has been notified. The students who take the AccuPlacer now, the new math classes show up. So it won't say student placed in 80 anymore. It'll say, you know, whatever it is, 76 or 86, whatever they place into. So that's been taken care of. And as I said, enrolling, it's up to you. Make sure you have that conversation with your student. And if this was live, I would ask for any questions, but this is a video. So now let's practice some scenarios. Make sure you really get the gist of what is expected. Okay, so this is fall quarter 2017. You have a student in your office. That student has a grade of C in Math 91 on their transcript, but they took it quite a few years ago. So the student's intended major is history also. So that's important to know. So what's the answer to this one? Well, let's look at our handy dandy handout. We have this nice little flow chart at the beginning of our handout. And again, if you don't have this handout, ask us, email it. We will email it to you if you don't have it. So let's take a look at this. So again, the scenario was student took Math 91 and passed, but it was quite a few years ago. So what do we think? And I'll give you some time to think about it. Or you can pause it if you're not sure. Okay, I'm going to move forward to the answer. So Math 86 or TS 86. But now you might be saying, hey Nina, if you look at that flyer, it says if they pass 91, that really they should go into Math 92 because we're offering it still winter of 2008. However, I would say, or we would say, Elise and I would say 86 might be a better option because it said they took Math 91 quite a few years ago, so that they may not be as fresh on the concepts from 91 from way back then when, and also they're a history major. So because they're not going into a STEM major, Math 86 is still an appropriate class to take because after 86 they will be eligible for 107 and 146. Now it's not wrong to advise them into 92 for winter quarter. It's just not necessarily, you know, they may not have the book anymore, and their concepts might be a little bit shaky. So 86 might be a better choice. Now, of course, they can still do 86 and then take 96, so they can still end up taking, if they just so choose, want to take like a pre-calc class, they can still then take 96 after 86. But 86 might be a better choice for them. Now, scenario 2 is similar to the last one. However, so they just passed 91. It was with a B, and it was just this past summer. So they didn't take 92 this fall. So what should that student do? And so the answer to this one is, in this case, Math 92 might be a better choice because we're still offering it winter quarter. They just took the class in the summer, and they still probably have the book on hand, so they wouldn't have to buy a new textbook. So Math 92 would be a better scenario. Scenario 3. So here we have, it's fall still, 2017. We have a pre-nursing student. They're in Math 91 this fall, and they're nursing. Student wants to transfer to Seattle University. And I'm going to pause, or you should pause, because I'm going to go on to the answer right now. So if you want to think about that before you go to the answer, hit pause. So even though they're nursing, and most nursing students take Math 146, Seattle University and University of Washington require students to do pre-calc. It's just a requirement. So for those particular students, you'll want to get them into their calc series pathway. So Math 92 would be appropriate for them. Okay, another scenario, fall 2017. Here we have an international student. They take the AccuPlacer test and score very low in math, so they're not high enough even to take Math 76 in the winter. What do they do? And again, hit pause if you want to wait to figure out the answer. So this student should take Math 78 or 79. They are not eligible to take the TS 60 or TS 70 because they are international students. Another fall 2017 advising appointment. We have now an anthropology major. They have credit in Math 91, but is failing Math 92 for the second time. So do they take 92 next quarter or something else? Pause if you want to think about it. I'm going on to the answer. So even though the student should probably be taking Math 141 eventually, given that they failed Math 92 more than once, it's probably a good idea for them to take Math 86 in the winter instead of trying 92 again, because clearly there's something going on where they're having really a hard time with those concepts. So Math 86 is a good next class because it'll slow the class down a little bit, make sure that they got their foundations down, and then they can take 96 in the spring. So remember, just because they're taking 86, that's still STEM pathway, because then they can take 96 in the spring. Okay, it's now winter 2018. In your office, it's a biology major. They've passed 91 in the fall, but they're in Math 92 for the winter quarter, but they are failing. What do they do? And I'm going to bring up the flow chart again. So winter, Math 92, they are failing. What do we do? The answer, Math 96. Okay, another one. Winter 2018. English major. Fails Math 92. Winter 2018. So, in the previous example, we had a biology major. And so that's why we recommend Math 96 for that student, because they're taking STEM. This example, we have an English major, also failing Math 92, winter. What do they take? Math 86 or TS 86. Now what's the difference again? One was a STEM major, one's an English major. So that's why you see this little asterisk here. So Math 92, if they're failing but their real goal is to go into a STEM major, Math 96 is a good option. But if they're more in the humanities or social science, you know that they only need 107 or 146, Math 86 is an appropriate class for them to take. Okay. Winter 18, pre-nursing student, wants to transfer to UW Seattle, fails Math 92 winter quarter. What are they going to take? Hopefully you got that right, Math 96, because remember UW and Seattle U require them to go through that pathway. Winter 2018 again, we have a philosophy major, has taken TS 91 with a C grade on their transcript, but they never took Math 92. So they took 91, never took 92. What's their pathway? Hopefully you said Math 86 or TS 86. So that'll get them their basic, that'll make sure that they're ready. And then if they want to take 96, they can, or if they're doing 107 or 146, they have that pathway after 86. Okay. So hopefully those examples helped you out. And hopefully this video was helpful to you. This is my very first Panopto video, so hopefully it went well. Okay, if you need to contact Elise Hugo or myself, please do so via email. We'll be happy to help you out and either come to a department or division meeting or meet with you one-on-one or just chit-chat over the phone or email. Whatever you need from us, we have release time for this whole academic year to help everybody make sure that this is a smooth transition. Okay, take care.